Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and I recently got a chance to do a meet and greet over at Brick Ally, Washington, and we're going to take a look at this store. I've actually never been before, and I'm excited to showcase what it's all about and what you can actually see at this particular store. This is a really cool one because it's about an hour and a half away from me, so I've never actually gotten the chance to go, but I'm excited about the selection, and I'm excited to showcase what the store had to offer and share a little bit about our meet and greet with other LEGO Masters contestants, which is always a ton of fun. Thanks all so much for tuning in, and let's go ahead and jump in to the tour. Now, Brick Alley is located in Port Orchard, Washington, which is actually a place I've never been to before. Despite living in Washington my whole life, this is kind of up north a little bit on the western side of Washington, so it's just not normally a place I would go to, and I honestly didn't even know of its existence until I was contacted to do a meet and greet alongside some of my fellow LEGO Masters. But when I got in, I was not disappointed because this was a really interesting store. Compared to some other used LEGO stores, the layout was incredibly large and open air. They had a ton of LEGO sets on display, but every single set had its own space, and honestly, this was kind of in direct contrast to some other stores I've been to that have a ton of inventory, but they're all really packed into the store in a smaller space. This almost had an opposite issue where it had a huge space and inventory that was good, but definitely not the largest selection of different things I've seen. Because of that, I honestly only got a couple of sets here and there because there just wasn't a ton for me to be able to pick up at this location, but it was a ton of fun being able to go and see everything they had on display, and there were a lot of really cool items available for pretty much everybody to get who's a fan of vintage or older LEGO themes. Just stuff I personally already owned myself. It was super cool to see an entire section dedicated to LEGO Elves, one of my favorite and most underrated LEGO themes in my opinion ever. Definitely will be doing a video on that soon, as well as a ton of vintage LEGO Harry Potter sets. They had a whole Ninjago display from all different eras of the theme, and one of my favorite collections was a vintage Castle and Pirates collection, still with the boxes, which was really, really cool. One thing that Brick Alley did really well was the inclusion of official LEGO store displays in the store themselves. You see, they had a ton of these giant super-sized LEGO collectible minifigure bags hanging from these sides of the walls that actually I believe are exclusive to the UK and maybe some other European LEGO toy stores. I know this because I actually picked one up. It was a giant Mixels bag back in 2015 when I was studying in Oxford over the summer, and it was really cool. The store owner basically gave it to me after I had just been in and out of the store for the past like 2 months, but to my knowledge, those are the only places I've ever seen them, and when I asked the owner of Brick Alley where they got theirs, they also said they found them from a seller in the UK at a really good price. So these may be UK exclusives, but they are very, very striking in the store. I think the layout was really nice, and one of the other cool things they were doing was building a LEGO tower around one of the columns of the store itself. Just all sorts of different stuff like that made it seem a lot more inviting and playful and welcoming, especially for kids who really enjoyed getting a chance to explore the store and seeing all the LEGO they had in stock. Another one of my favorite details were the multitude of LEGO alarm clock giant figures hanging from the ceiling. They had them pretty much all throughout the store, and I think that was a really nice touch to be able to actually have some more LEGO decorations there, which was a ton of fun. Now, I had some folks on hand helping sell some Duck Bricks merch at the store itself, which was a ton of fun, so folks could actually buy some Duck Bricks merch and have me sign it as they got in line, which was a ton of fun to actually meet folks who maybe weren't even fans of LEGO Masters, but were fans of Duck Bricks who just came out to meet me, so that was awesome. Thank you so much for being there. That means a lot. And overall, this was a ton of fun just exploring around the store and seeing everything they had to offer. Of course, most of my time at the store was spent actually doing the meet and greet, and this is one of the first of many, many videos I'll be putting out about meet and greets. I've literally been doing one every single weekend since January. And honestly, that's why it's taken me so long to get a lot of these videos out. As folks know, if you've followed Duck Bricks for a while, I usually only do Duck Bricks video work on the weekends because I work a normal job during the days and run a couple of other side businesses. But since all of my weekends have pretty much been filled with just going to meet and greets, which don't get me wrong are a ton of fun, I just haven't gotten the chance to edit a lot of videos recently, which is why I'm very thankful I planned for years in advance for daily videos to come out every single day, even if I don't touch the channel for months. That being said, going back to Brick Alley, this was really fun because not only did I do a full-on meet and greet, but I also got the chance to reunite with a ton of other LEGO Masters cast members.
Christopher!
Oh!
Christopher!
I do.
Oh,
It's a good one.
do you have that one?
Do you have that one? I think
you have all of
have, but I brought the ones I don't have. For some of these folks, it was the first time I was seeing them since the show and maybe since BrickCon last year, so it was a ton of fun just catching up with everyone who was able to make it out, from Kelly to Brad to Jordan and everybody else. This was a ton of fun just to be able to see all of my old friends again and to hang out, kind of like how it was on the show. With Amy, Jordan, Brad, and Kelly present, this was so much fun just catching up with everybody, and I do have a lot of fond memories from this particular meet and greet because typically the ones I do on the weekends are either by myself or maybe sometimes with Emily or Robert, but for the most part I usually have been doing a ton of them just on my own, and so this was a completely different experience because I actually did have a ton of my other castmates and fellow contestants with me, sharing the spotlight and hanging out, having fun in a really nice and open-air LEGO store. This is the kind of store that I definitely will want to visit again in the future. I'm excited to see what other types of stock they might have in, because they had a lot of really cool different sets. You can even see in the background like some Mars mission stuff behind me, which is super cool. Of course, soon enough, it was time to move away from Brick Alley and make my way over to one other used LEGO store that they had actually recommended I go visit. And oh my goodness, I was not disappointed. So about a 35 to 45 minute drive away from Brick Alley sits Viking City Bricks. It is one of the newer used LEGO stores that has opened up, and it's kinda crazy because Viking City Bricks is located in Poulsbo, which is a location that I go to very often. Every time I have friends who come and visit me in Seattle, I always make sure we go on a boat ferry over to Bainbridge Island and to Poulsbo. But I didn't even know this existed because this was so recent. The last time I went to Poulsbo, this wasn't even open. So it was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one, walking in and seeing a very quaint and small shop, but one that looked really, really fun, had some insane inventory, and with half the wall dedicated just to LEGO Bionicle. I kid you not, I could not believe my eyes. The Bionicle selection they had here was absolutely bonkers, and I do not put that lightly. They had sealed sets, used sets, new sets, any set from pretty much every era of Bionicle, and the prices were actually pretty good too. Almost every single Bionicle was priced under Bricklink, and I feel like this is a bit of a hidden gem because I posted photos of the Bionicle selection, got a ton of DMs from other LEGO fans in Washington saying like I'm going over right now to buy it out, and I don't know, it might be all gone the next time that you go, but this is probably the best Bionicle selection that I've seen from really any used LEGO store. Obviously, I do own every single Bionicle set already, but as you're about to see in the haul, I just couldn't resist picking up a few duplicates because I feel like it's the only chance I'm going to be able to get these at fairly okay prices, especially some of the G2 Year 2 stuff like Onua Uniter and stuff like that. So it was really cool because I have modified many of my sets over the years, and especially when G2 came out, I kind of went through a Bionicle mocking phase where I was just revamping and overhauling every single set. And because of that, I don't actually have the vanilla standard versions of the sets on display. I have my own mocked up and revamped versions. So I was kind of thinking back and feeling like, well, do I actually really own the set anymore if I've modified them that much? So I kind of went back and got the ones that I really drastically modified, like Onua Uniter, because one, it was at a good price, and two, it's going to be really cool to display the actual modified version of the set next to the standard version, which I thought was really cool. Of course, they didn't just have Bionicle, they had a ton of minifigures, Star Wars stuff, Jurassic World, you name it, all sorts of themes, but obviously my focus was on Bionicle. But what was really cool is they actually let me go ahead and explore the back room, which I'm very, very grateful they were able to let me do. And back there I found all sorts of interesting surprises, such as a Brickmasters LEGO Prince of Persia set, which I didn't own, which is really interesting. It was part of like a subscription service, and just all sorts of very unique and rare LEGO oddities that you just don't normally see every day. Overall, it was a great experience going to both of these stores. Brick Alley, thank you so much for having me there for a meet and greet, and then Viking City Bricks, which just kind of was a nice surprise on the way back home. I just took the long way around, we took the ferry back and drove onto the ferry back home, but it was super cool being able to explore a used LEGO store relatively close to me. I mean, I don't think I'd be making regular trips out because it does require me to drive my car onto a ferry, and that's a 45-minute ferry to get there, and then on top of that it's another like 45-minute drive, so It's not necessarily easily accessible for me, but it is something that the next time I actually bring friends to visit Polsbo, I 100% will be stopping by because it was a ton of fun to be able to check this out. And of course, I had to build some Lego sets on the ferry as well, put together the G2 Ikimu versus Kulta the Skull Grinder set, which was a lot of fun, just reliving the nostalgia of just playing with G2 toys. And overall, this was just such a fun time. I hope that folks enjoyed this coverage of my meet and greet and adventure at both Brick Alley and as well as exploring Viking City bricks. But now I think it's time to get in to the haul. Alright, so this is my haul from both of the stores, because of course I did get to visit two in one day, which was a ton of fun. From the first store, we have a sealed Speed Champions Mercedes set. I'm trying to collect all of the Speed Champion sets, especially the 6 stud wide ones, because I only started 100% completing the theme once they actually introduced the 8 stud wide cars, and now I am severely paying for it because I'm trying to go back and get all the 6 stud wide cars, and they are pretty pricey, but I was able to pick this one up, which is really nice. It is fully sealed, so I'm really excited to build it because it is a discontinued Lego set. Moving onwards, we have the only version of the Naboo Starfighter I did not previously own. This one's the one that came out in 2007, and it comes with a young Anakin, a Naboo Starfighter pilot, as well as I believe a battle droid as well, or maybe R2-D2. But yeah, it's a really good looking model, and obviously it's not the most refined thing, but I just wanted to pick it up to add on to my collection. Moving onwards to here, we got some empty Bionicle canisters. Honestly, they just gave these to me, and I'm very grateful for that because I am trying to collect every single Lego Bionicle canister, and they just happen to have these empty ones and said I could go ahead and take them, so really thankful for that. Same goes for this really interesting Lego Bionicle Toys R Us mask holder. If you don't know what this is, basically this was a mask binder that was given away in Toys R Us 2001, where you could actually put your different masks inside and keep them stored for safekeeping. It's pretty cool how they actually were able to just have these available for Bionicle in 2001, and I did already own one of these mask holders, but I always wanted to pick up another one because, of course, they're actually really useful for storing and showcasing masks, so I figured why not grab that one as well. Moving onwards to the next thing, this is a very interesting LEGO Ninjago promotional item. It is an articulated figure, and what they mean by that is that this is larger than the standard minifigure. Like my hand for scale, my hands are not that small, like this is not a minifigure size thing. It's like slightly bigger than a minifigure, and you've also got like battle sound effects in it, so if you press the button, it's a little bit hard to hear, but I'm going to put it right up to my mic here. You can hear the battle sounds on here, so it's a very interesting item that LEGO hasn't really done since. It's very weird to get one of these, but they did one for each of the ninja as well as one of the Skulkin here Knuckles, so honestly, I'm really hoping that one day I'll be able to pick up all of the ninja ones as well, because this is so cool. It's such a weird item, but yeah, it's super interesting to see, and maybe one day I'll be able to own the other ones. Moving on from that, though, there were just a couple of other strange LEGO items here, including a sealed LEGO sports pen. This is the kind of really weird and wacky item that I just love to collect, so you can see that LEGO sports pen right there, still fully sealed. Very cool to see that. And I had to get this absolutely adorable squishy Unikitty. I don't understand why, but this is like the softest thing and like the smoothest thing I've ever squished. It's so satisfying to just squish it. I saw this, they had it in a bit of other LEGO Movie 2 stuff, and I just had to get the Unikitty one. I'm probably going to give this one to my mom, but it's such a cute little thing, so hopefully she'll like it. Moving onwards, I got a copy of literally the only LEGO Elves set I did not own already. That is Nida's Spa Secret here. Sounds a little bit like a clothing line, but no, this is a LEGO set, Nida's Spa Secret, and I got it without the mini dolls because I already had the mini doll and the purple dolphin that was included in the set. I literally just needed the set, and now I finally have the complete LEGO Elves collection. Moving onwards, I've recently set up a Doctor Who specific minifigure wall display, so I got extra copies of the LEGO Dimensions TARDIS and K9 so I can actually put those back with my LEGO Dimensions display. Yes, the collection is getting to the point where I am buying duplicate copies of the same item just to display them in 2 different places, but you know what, it was worth it for Doctor Who, and thankfully these were not super expensive. I also got one of the missing Scooby-Doo figures I didn't own yet, which was the zombie from the Mystery Machine.
Moving onwards to the next store here. Oh, one last item from Brick Alley, actually. This one right here. It's a Belleville doll. Very, very weird figure, and I'm trying to collect them all, so I just had to pick this one up. But then I got a tip to check out Viking bricks, as I mentioned, and that was absolutely crazy because I had no idea what I was going to find. But there I found a ton of Bionicle sets, obviously as you saw in the video, and I had to pick up a couple of duplicates for my collection. Obviously I already own every single Bionicle set, but I got these because I've actually modified my copies of the Kulta, the Skull Grinder, as well as the Skull Warrior sets rather significantly. I've beefed up Kulta to be like one of the older Bionicle Titans, so he's a lot bigger. Honestly, I really like my revamp of him. I think it's a lot better than the official set, but then I realized that I've so much modified it. Like, I've taken it so far from the official set that I don't even know if I can even say that I have the official set built or owned at this point, because I've beefed him up so much to the extent that he doesn't really even resemble the official set other than the color scheme and aesthetics. So I was like, you know what, might as well get the official set, as well as just another Skull Warrior to add on to my armies. And then, same thing goes with Onua, Uniter of Earth. I significantly beefed him up. I gave him like kind of the larger scale Chima, Chi Gorzan, massive and like Hulk style of chest plate there, so I made him a lot beefier to kind of make it feel more congruent with the first year, the 2015 version of him. But then again, I was looking at him and I was like, yeah, I don't really feel like I own the completed Onua Uniter of Earth because the version I have is so much heavily modified. So then I got just a standard version of the set so I can say, well, this is the actual set, and then I've got another copy of him fully beefed up. Moving onwards from that, they were kind enough to actually give me this Lego monorail piece. They said I was probably the only person who was going to walk in the store and know what this was, so very, very grateful for that. Thank you so much for just giving me this. I have a lot of custom monorail plans, and this is going to be really, really helpful because you only really need one of these to make a custom Lego monorail, and I cannot wait to see what I can do. I also got a Lego Exotoa, and I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether I want to make a second Exotoa, and so I can display one of the Toamata inside the Exotoa next to kind of the standard one, or do I want to make the Exoraptor? It's a non-canon combiner model, and when I started off collecting Bionicle, I did say I was only going to make the canon combiner models, but honestly, it's pretty cool, so I might actually make it, and I know once I make it, I'm going to now have to make all of the non-canon alternate and combiner models as well, so I'm on the fence, but we'll see. That is pretty much it other than a couple of smaller sets. This Prince of Persia set here was a LEGO Brickmaster magazine exclusive. I don't know if anyone remembers what Brickmaster magazine was, but essentially it was kind of this subscription service where you could get sets delivered to your home, so that was one that I got there, which was really cool, a great price for that too. I got this sealed McDonald's Baraki pack. This is so funny. It's a McDonald's Happy Meal toy of Mantax the Baraki, but it's fully sealed, which I've never really seen in person before. And lastly, I just got this Lego Technic kind of starter model kit, and you can build a ton of different models with it, but I chose to build the airplane because that one was just the one that was the most interesting to me, and this is just another one to add on to my classic Lego Technic collection. Love the functionality of sets like these, and that's pretty much it, other than a Viking City brick shirt. Thank you so much again to the owners for giving me a shirt, and I definitely will be back because literally as I left, they sent me a message and said right as I left, they got in a massive Bionicle collection. Oh my goodness, I am so annoyed that it happened right as I was walking out the door because they had some crazy stuff come in, and I know for sure I'll be back. Okay, so I opened up this bad boy, and inside was an official Bionicle Fantoka paper airplane, which is really funny. This unlocked like a deep-seated childhood memory in me, so I must have already owned one of these Happy Meal toys because I remember flying this. But what's more interesting is on the back, they actually have advertisements for the 2008 Bionicle sets, and they are the prototype versions of the sets. So Pohatu here has the Toa Matau arrow slicers instead of his normal claws. The Midax Sky Blaster looks really funky. Like, as you can see, the spinner isn't finalized. Even the Makuta designs are kind of strange and different. Like, Chirox here has a different style of mask, and I just found it very interesting how these are all the prototype versions. You can see by the claws on the chest as well. These are all the older style of claws that they were using in the prototypes, and so this may be one of the only times that prototype material was featured in an official promotion. I know Lego Atlantis appeared in prototype form on a calendar once, but that was pretty funny. And I didn't even realize that Mantax's eyes light up, which is pretty crazy. So let's see how this works. Oh, well, I guess the battery's dead after like 10 years. That totally makes sense. But it's still really funny to see this. Look at that guy. It's Mantax.
All right, and with that, we have summed up our look at Brick Ally Washington. Thank you so much for hosting us for the meet and greet. This was a ton of fun, and let me know down in the comments if you have ever been to this store. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you again. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and bye for now.